to Mia Hamm, Angie Kelly, Lori Walker. I've got Carrie Sanchez here, and so my guides continue. To this day, I'm still being guided by the extraordinary women that I get to train and spend time with. But I did change my mind, and what inspired me to change my mind was that powerful speech that's already been referenced, that I'm watching the Golden Globes, and Meryl Streep gets up to speak, and I was just stunned at, obviously, what an extraordinarily important speech for her to give right now, certainly for us in the country, but also I think what applies to what we're doing in our game. I tied that to what I saw on the website for women in soccer, and I tied that into this, and just to quote off the website, for women in soccer, it's time to work together to make a difference. Please join us and be part of the conversation and the solution. Women in soccer is a collaboration of what has been accomplished and a commitment to diversify the future. Respect is more than 7 letters. It is a way of thinking. So, what did Meryl Streep say? Well, here's what she said. First of all, she gets up there and she thanks, like everyone else, the Hollywood foreign press. And then she talks about that her group belonged to the most vilified segment of American society right now. She said, think about it, Hollywood, foreigners, and press. And of course, she was talking about the way all of us are attacked. Certainly in my state where HB2 is such an issue. And so yes, we're all attacked. And then she asked, well, what is Hollywood anyway? And she started to introduce the people sitting in front of her. She talked about her own background, this girl from New Jersey that went to public schools, and then she pointed to the woman that introduced her, Viola, as a sharecropper's daughter from South Carolina. She pointed to Sarah Paulson, born in Brooklyn, Sarah Jessica Parker, raised in Ohio with 7 or 8 other brothers and sisters. She talked about basically Amy Adams, born in Italy. She talked about Natalie Portman, born in Jerusalem. And then she asked, well, where are their birth certificates? Then the beautiful Ruth Nega was born in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, raised in Ireland. And she pointed to Ryan Gosling, and she said something I thought was fantastic, like, all the nicest people. And Angie, I'm throwing this your way. He's a Canadian. And then she talked about Dev Patel, was born in Kenya, raised in London, and is now playing in India, raised in Tasmania. And so what she was trying to do was to share that, Hollywood obviously is crawling with outsiders and foreigners. And if, she said, we kick them all out, what are we left with? Well, we're left with American football, and we're left with the mixed martial arts. And she basically made a statement that these are not the arts. And of course, everyone applauded. And then she said something I thought was wonderfully profound. She said, an actor's only job is to enter the lives of people who are different from us and let you feel what that feels like. And then, of course, she was talking about some of these extraordinary performances of the people sitting in front of her. And then her talk got a lot more serious. Join her in supporting this committee to protect journalists, because we are going to need them going forward to safeguard the truth. And she finished up basically talking about one day she was on her set and she was whining about, missing supper, and standing next to her was Tommy Lee Jones. And he said to her, isn't it such a privilege, Meryl, just to be an actor? And she said, yes, it is. We need to remind ourselves of the privilege and responsibility of the active empathy we should all have. And she finished up with, we should be proud of the work Hollywood honors here tonight. And she finished with this, as my friend, the dear departed Princess Leia said once, take your broken heart, make it into art. Well, I am not worried about our game. All the different clans are at war with each other. Everyone pointing fingers at the other platforms of player development. claiming the other group is not following best practices with the youth, the college game, the pro leagues, and the national coaches and technical directors, all feeling let down by the groups feeding into them. We are all feeling the pressure of trying to stay on top of the world while the world closes that gap at every level. This year, the U17's eliminated without getting out of the group. The U20s, even when they win, being dominated by teams we used to skate by. The full team in the Olympics having the earliest exit in our history. The panic bells are ringing, and everyone's solution is through the lens of their own experience. Is the solution to our girls' growth U.S. Soccer's Development Academy? Isn't that just the ECNL without substitution? Or will the DA have a whole new set of coaches with a magic box of ideas we have never heard of? Is the solution in college the same thing? No re-entry on a 2-game weekend? Isn't every soccer culture in the world something that emerges from the fabric of its people and the way they embrace the game? In the spring of 1991, I was the U.S. Women's National Coach, and we had just qualified for the first Women's World Cup to be held in Guangzhou, China. We were in Haiti, and we had outscored our CONCACAF opponents by a combined margin of 49-0 in an awesome display of attacking soccer. In the press conference immediately following the game, I could tell the room was stunned at our level, especially since we were an American team, and making things even harder for them to understand, it was a women's team. So they started asking questions to see if they could understand what they saw. What did we do in training? So I told them, we play a lot of 1v1, we play a lot of 4v4, and by the way, we're extraordinary at 1v1 because they just saw Heinrichs and Jennings and Akers and Ham and Lilly and Foudy, and yeah, we could certainly carve people up 1v1, but that didn't seem to impress anyone. Well, someone asked, well, did we get our players from foreign leagues? I said, no, we got them mostly from American colleges. This other guy said, were most of the coaches in the colleges from Europe or South America? I said, no, they were not. Finally, one of them asked, Coach, what is your background? And I told him, I was born in Bombay, India. At the age of 3, my family moved to Calcutta. From there, we went to Nairobi, Kenya. We stayed there for 3 or 4 years, and then we went to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. For the first time, I saw everyone in the room start to write something down. And for the first time in this press conference, the reporters were finally sorting out what made our team exceptional. Because of the huge lack of respect the world has for our game, this press corps felt it had unlocked the secret to our success. And honestly, as a young coach, I hid behind my foreign upbringing because I thought it gave credibility to a lackluster soccer resume. But we had played so well, I told everyone the truth. I finished the rest of the places I had lived. From Addis Ababa, we moved to Singapore, Malaysia, and from there to Brussels, Belgium. And while we were living in Brussels, I was sent to a Swiss boarding school, La Ville Saint-Jean, in Freiburg, Switzerland, for my high school education. But then I told them the truth. I learned how to play soccer at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I learned how to coach the game from the U.S. Soccer Coaching Schools in the annual convention of the NSCAA. And later that year, when we won the World Championship, I went around the country telling people I was proud to be an American. I was proud to be a product of our coaching system and proud to be a world champion. It's interesting, as an American raised abroad, I became a fervent patriot because I had spent my life defending American foreign policy. The world has a love-hate relationship with the United States, and while I was growing up, I fought to defend every slight. So when I was appointed the U.S. Women's National Coach in 1986, we had never won a game. And when I retired, we were world champions. Coaching the United States was not a game for me. It was visceral. It was revenge for every insult and punch I had felt growing up. And now I can feel us going back there to not being respected for whatever part of the game we are involved in. I loved Lynn's description of the kind of power great women leaders wield from earlier today. It's in getting things done. In a recent interview, U.S. Soccer's Director of Coaching shared that one candidate asked him at the new pro-licensed coaching course when he would open the magic box of Europe. Nico told him, "There is no magic box of Europe, and the only thing we can and will do is give a framework based on certain philosophies and theories, but that he has to fill the box himself. We Americans have to develop our own way, our own philosophy, and identifying and use best practices out of Europe, but not trying to copy them." So to go back to the beginning of my remarks on Meryl Streep, we, the leaders in this room, are the equivalent of the principled press. We need to hold power to account, call them on the carpet for every outrage, because isn't it a privilege for us to be involved in this incredible game together? And let me stress, together, because the last time I checked, we were okay. We are reigning world champions. Thank you.